Now, in 1937, a decision becomes available: begin the Great Officer Purge. There's really no reason not to do it in this game, unfortunately, because it was a pretty bad series of events for the Soviets in real life. But the generals that you lose aren't really that good, and the politicians that you lose also really aren't that good. So, and with national unity the way it is, you've got to basically do it in order to have a proper land force. Also, our industrial capacity run, the first part of it finishes, and I just like to put it out here. In older versions, the infrastructure, which is, how good the roads are in this area, you can see our road network, determined how fast things repaired. I don't know, but assume that that is still the case in this game. And I want my factories far away from my potential border with Germany or Japan, because we'll lose the game if they invade and take all our IC. Now, with that production run being done, we're going to go ahead and shift and do the purge. So, the officer purge. I'll leave that up for a little bit, but Stalin basically killed all the leaders of the army during this time, and we need to change out some politicians. The guy you get to replace Yagoda is great because he gives you a bonus to counter espionage. The new head of intelligence isn't really all that great, but not a big deal. We're going to do a 3-year draft starting now to get our manpower pool up, and we're going to put Al-Kinsnis back on his Air Force position. Oddly enough, in this game, Yakov Al-Kinsnis stays, I don't know if I'm saying his last name correctly, stays of an option for the Soviet Union, but he himself was actually killed in the purge of the Air Force, and he was actually Latvian by origin. He came over during the revolution. We're also our mobilization can't be increased yet because our neutrality rather, is not low enough, and we need heavy industry emphasis so this stuff builds faster. That does increase our consumer goods need, but ultimately it doesn't make that big of a difference because stuff builds so much faster. And then to get rid of this dissent, we're going to just max out consumer goods for a little while. Oh, and I have a couple factories to put down that finished because they had that build up, and when we switched to heavy industry, they just automatically went ahead and finished. Alrighty then. So there we go. Industrial production, industrial efficiency, those are still, I believe, they're only slightly ahead. Let's see how much it costs us to run them like that. So we're not going to continue down that road. And instead, we are going to start scaling this back because I need to change the way production is done. So basically, 1938 is a year of getting the amount of junk that we're researching way lower. Also keeping consumer goods under control, because as more and more factories come online, I'm going to be forced to continually raise my consumer goods. And we'll do away with delay doctrine. Again, that was just really to heat up the theory in the text screen. So if you'll look, we've got a bit more going on here, and that's very helpful. Essentially, the way I like to do it is the goal is to lower my researching text to 16 and put the rest into officers, because we're going to need a lot of officers for our future great army. So that's engineers there. That's very important to us because we'll need them in the future. But now we can start putting in for officers. Now, with basic bomb done, I'm going to go ahead and put in for fighter development, even though it's a bit ahead of schedule. Because I'm going to want to build those in mass, and I just need it to be done quickly. And here we go. We've got our researching techs down to 16, and our officers at about 20 officers a day. I need this percentage up here to go as high as possible. And so 1937 is pretty much just going to be more teching, more factory building, and carefully managing these doctrines as they are created. I also need to start into 38 industrial techs pretty much as soon as I can. At least the ones that are going to give me the largest benefit. So we'll look at those now. That's still too much. That's still too much. Nah, I want them to be down in the hundreds if I'm gonna rush ahead. Because then you just can't say no. So we're not ready to rush ahead yet. Elastic and operational are both blitzkriegs, and they're fine. So we're going to leave them there. Mobile warfare advances, and we get another factory. I need to check that out real quick. I like just putting my factories in Kazan, because if the Nazis get to Kazan, I'm so screwed anyways that it's not going to matter. Mobile warfare does get a bit ahead, so we're going to put some points in Schwerpunkt, which is another very important doctrine for me. And here's a pop-up on the Hindenburg disaster. Basically, if you don't know, Zeppelins, very large blimps, were popular modes of transportation. And then the Hindenburg disaster occurred, and now it's pretty rare that you'll go flying anywhere on a Zeppelin of that type. And we'll give it another look around here. 300, 200, nah. No real change. We will, however, use that space that we just got into CAS pilot training. So we need our CAS pilots to be as good as possible. Illegal printing. So we could take a money hit and maybe gain descent or just gain descent. To be honest, there are more pressing concerns, and we're just going to take the 3 descent and then max out. The reason I don't want to do that is I'm already really short on money, and I don't want to lose any more. Because it could be that I run out of money when I really desperately need to change some of my laws, which costs money to do. I'm also just, the rest of 1937, the summer of it anyways, it's just going to be me waiting for my neutrality to fall low enough that I can change my mobilization laws regarding my economy so we can get one final IC boost. We're going to go into mechanized research because we need that. And special forces can probably be done away with. Yeah, so we're going to start going back into industrial tech. And with fighter ground crew training getting updated by quite a bit, we're going to do interception tactics as well. I just try to alternate between those two when I'm ahead. Amelia Earhart disappears. Famous female flyer from the USA. The Soviet Union actually had several female flyers as well, but none of them really got very famous in the West. And none of them also just suddenly and mysteriously disappeared either. With tank guns finishing, we're going to look at maybe switching into tank engines. No. We're going to go back to industry. Yeah, we'll do this computing machine business. And with our infantry tech finishing there, that opens up a few new options. I'm going to get Arctic and mountain warfare